Hi everyone, Matt here from PM Models, and for this next project I'm going to do, it's going to be this chap here. So, bit of a background to this. As on Flooring Models we have auctions, and one of the members won a set of these that we were selling. These are the dragon figures that got reissued not so long ago, and he kindly donated one to me and asked me if I'd do a video build on it. So that's what I'm going to do. Alright, so bit of a disclaimer, I only got into painting figures a couple of years ago. Really enjoy it, really enjoy the process and the creativity of doing figures. So I'm actually looking forward to doing this little job. So again, this is a styrene figure. See, it comes in multiple parts, so we're going to have to build him first, clean him up, and all the bits and bobs normally associated with a plastic kit, and then we'll get him mounted on some sort of painting stand, and we'll get on with it. So without further ado, we'll get on with the construction. We'll go through that process first, and then obviously we'll move on to the priming and painting and my way of doing it. So okay, thanks for watching. Right, so let's break into the bag, see what we've got. Alright. So as you can see, we've got the main sprue with his body parts and head, boots, bread bag, things like that. So okay, then we've got obviously the weapons. Okay, his MG42, and there should be, if I can find it, a pistol. Oh, there it is. There we go. Which is holding. So this character is quite a famous photo actually from the Ardennes offensive. So again, the reference is out there for anybody who wants to look it up. But yeah, this is a very famous, taken from a very famous photo. So again, I'm glad about that, for, like I say, just for reference material. So we begin by cutting the main bits off the sprue and getting that assembled. So what I'll do is I'll cut all these off, then we'll come back, start assembling, see what gaps we've got, see what needs to be cleaned up, what needs to be refined, as in his webbing and his gear. Again, to be honest, the head for a styrene head looks really nice. Really nicely moulded. So yeah, that's a good, nice part. So we've got the main body parts cut off the sprue. So next job, we'll put them together, see what we've got, see what needs, like I said, see what needs cleaning up, seam line wise and mould line wise. Okay. Okay, so there we go. All any of his equipment on. Get his right boot in the right place. Just a quick test fit. Right, okay, so right, we've got some skinny sticks, some floor skinny sticks. So what we'll do is we'll just have a quick going over on the mating edges, make sure there's no flash, so we can get a good solid contact when we start gluing. clear up any of the sprue gates when it's together, as long as they're not fouling. Okay. Alright, that's not too bad. There's a few small gaps, but nothing a bit of putty can't solve. Okay, so what we're going to use glue wise is we're going to use the Tamiya white top. Okay, this is quite thick, nice thick glue, so it's good for bigger mating surfaces. So I'll give it a coat of that. Again, we can always run over it with extra thin after if needs be. All I want to do at the minute is just get the two halves together and then go from there to see what cleanup we've got. Okay, so get them lined up as best we can. And as you can see, I think we're going to have a bit of a gap there that we'll be puttying up. Overall, not too bad actually. What we'll do is just keep that together. Give it a blast of extra thin. Pun the legs together. Okay, same with this side. Quick, just touch of extra thin down the seam. Make sure everything's lining up. Okay, better. Okay. So put that to one side. We'll get his top half together. And we'll do a quick test fit. And that seems a really good fit. Okay, we've got a bit of remove that bit of sprue gate there, I think, in his foam. Chisel that out. Right. So it's actually a very nice fit. So then we use a white top, literally slap some of that round this joint. Up. Okay, and you can see we'll let that dry as well, but that, as you can see, will mount on there. let's have a look what else we've got. Okay, so the head. I've got to make a decision whether to actually mount the head or paint it separate. I think what I'll do is I'm actually going to build this fella up into as much as I can, and paint it all in one, I think, rather than in different pieces. So that, not that you're going to see it under his helmet, but get his helmet right way. So okay, trim that off there. Okay, so looking at his head, we do have a slight, this is going to show up on cam, but mould seam. That's obviously where the two halves of the moulds go together. You're always going to get that seam. Again, if you're doing 35th scale styrene figures, that is the main sort of clean up on those. And again, if you do miss them, they do really show up. So it's good to just spend a bit of time just cleaning up, checking. Come on, move that sprue attachment point. Okay. Again, this one's not too bad of where it is, because it's like a lot of it, you know. Okay, he's on the right way around. Will be under his helmet. So there's definitely one there that could do with cleaning up, but how they've managed to do it is actually is quite well into the folds of the his headgear. So I'm going to take one of the Trumpeter Master Tool scrapers again, and then just smooth out any mould lines. So again, if you do miss any, I won't worry, because they do show up when you're priming, but if you can get most of them before that stage, then that's it is better. Again, this is a good stage if you want to sharpen up any of the folds, deepen any of the sort of recesses. If you want to, again, because this is so sharp, you can carve in, you know, the side of his face just to deepen them out for taking paint later for the shadows. Okay. Alright, so what we'll do, we'll leave these to dry, put them to one side. Any other parts I'll again, like his arms, we'll clean up, and his boots. So I'll do these off camera. I say it's going to be the same process as the head. If there are any mould lines, obviously just take the scraper and, you know, go over it where it needs to be, or a blade, sanding stick, whatever it takes. Okay, I could definitely see this one top of his boot, so we'll get rid of that. Okay, so when that's done, we'll come back and then we'll start assembling. Okay, so we've got both parts of the legs together and the torso. So what I've got to do next is to do a bit of gap filling. So for this, what I'm going to do is use a bit of the Revel Plasto putty and thin it with a bit of extra thin. So I've got a bit of an old jar lid here, so easy enough just to squirt a bit in the bottom of the lid, and then I'll just remove that. Okay, and then I'll just add a bit of extra thin just to thin it down. I think you can just use acetone as well, so I'm just going to make it like a paste consistency. Okay, I've got a stiff flat brush here, so you're going to make it a bit like a thick surfacer. Okay, again, if you've got the Tamiya one or the Humbrol one, you want like the solvent based one, not an acrylic one. Okay, so that's just picking up some of the old filler that was in the bottom. It's just reactivated that. So once you've got that thinned, okay, we'll take the legs because I think they're the worst. So as you can see, so all I'm going to do is just to dab it into place. Okay, just to fill the gaps, get it in there. Okay, just brush it on. Make sure it's covered and where you want it. Okay. Again, this does thicken up again pretty quick, so if it does and you want it a bit thinner, just keep adding extra thin. Okay, so as you can see, that will fill the gaps. So again, let this dry. If it needs another coat, give it another coat, and so on and so forth until you're happy with the seam line that it's gone. Okay, so what I'll do is go around, do the rest, do his torso as well. The top half is not as bad as his legs. I'm going to feel there's a gap just under his arm that I'm just going to putty up as well. You're not really going to see it once it's on, but I'll do it anyway. And then hopefully after that we'll come back and we'll get it sanded down. So while the filler is drying, I thought I'd move on to assembling the MG42. Again, multiple parts, remove them from the sprue, and again, a bit of scrape cleaning and a bit of a fine sanding stick just to get rid of any burring and attachment marks. Alright, pretty straightforward fit. It's self-explanatory. Like I say, the only problem I find with the old kit is that's your instructions. So cares need to be taken, to be honest, when you are assembling it, just to make sure you get in the right parts and where they fit and how they fit. So it is a bit, they are numbered, but it is, again, like I say, a bit vague on where stuff goes. It would have been better if they'd have actually, you know, done a broken up view of, you know, attach the head, attach the two legs together, blah de blah. You know where I'm going. So again, pretty straightforward with this. I'm just going to assemble this. Also, what I am going to do is, as you can see, the barrel is moulded solid. So when it's all together and dried, I'm just going to drill that out, make it a bit more realistic for the final appearance. So shove that guy onto there. Again, the part fitting isn't too bad. It's a bit warped. That part's a bit warped. You need to be careful when you're removing it off the sprue, because that is quite a thin, flimsy part. Once it's in place, it'll be fine. But yeah, just take care when you're cleaning it up. So we'll do this in stages. So drop a bit of glue into that bit and down there, let that set. Okay, again, just flow a bit down there. Okay. Touch it at the front, squeeze that together. Okay. Right, so that bit's attached, so let that dry. Okay. Again, just a bit of clean up there. Get that the right way round. Tab of extra thin, just to lock that into place. Okay, other side and down the back. Got that part on there. Alright, we'll just attach that bit onto there, the stock. Okay, what we'll have to do again, a bit of clean up where the join is after it's dry. And the final part, which will go under there like so. I think what I'll do is I'll just leave that off for now and just attach it later on. I think I need to just widen the hole that goes in, that hole there. Again, that'll just push in and hold in there. Okay. So again, actually not a bad detailed part. Look quite nice painted up. So we'll put that to one side, and then we'll do some sub assemblies I think for now. Just a bit of clean up and get it ready for when we can finish off rubbing the filler down and get him finally assembled. So probably remove these bits, these bottom bits of his smock, come jacket. Again, want taking off and cleaning up. There's a few pin marks and stuff, and just see how they fit and see what gaps we're left with. I have on this part already thinned the edge out. It was, to be honest, quite thick in this corner, so what I've done is just took a blade and just carved any thicker plastic, styrene, carved it out to make that thinner, and then just run it along the edge just to thin it as well, just to bit more scale thickness. So it just gives the illusion that when that is fitted onto his back and that wraps around, that if you do look underneath, which you probably won't do, but as you can see it's a bit more realistic. So that'll go on there, and then the other parts will fit around it, and then we'll see what gaps we've got, what wants filling with that. So boots are done, his hat's done. Yeah, it's just drying times. Yeah. So when we come back, I say we'll be cleaning the filler up, seeing if there's any gaps left, if we need to redo it, and then we'll proceed. Hopefully, then we can get into getting them together, getting them assembled, so we can get into priming. The filler is now dry, so what we're going to do is knock that down with a bit of 600 Tamiya masking sponge. Okay, so what I've done is, normally do, just cut a little square off, no need to waste tons of it, and then okay, and then just gently let the sanding sponge do the work. It's just take any of the filler that we don't want off. Okay, being a sponge as well, it will just conform to any creases and contours of the shape of the body. Get it in there, just again smooth that off. Alright, so then what I'll do is finish taking this down, see where we're at when it's done. Again, like I said before, if it needs refilling, re-sanding, you know, blah blah blah, usual stuff, and then see where we're at, and then hopefully, he says, we can get it assembled. But just a side note is, if you do use sort of the solvent based fillers, again, that you can thin with extra thin or acetone, it does actually sand down really nice. Again, you're going to have to watch for shrinkage, because you get that with nearly all the fillers, if not 99.9% of them. But you know, it does the job for what I need for this kit. Again, if you've not got that sort of glue, you can, you know, make your own sprue glue will do. Again, when you join it, if you use sprue glue quite a bit, clamp it together so you know you get a nice bead where the join is, and you can sand that down. That's another way of doing it. Or again, if you've got the acrylic putties, perfect plastic putty, the AK one, things like that. Again, same scenario, you know, you can obviously thin that with a bit of water and flood that in. So lots of ways of doing it. I just chose to do it this way for this job, but you know, the choice is yours really for whatever filler you have in the in your arsenal of modelling products. So like I said, I'll get on, finish rubbing top half down and stuff, then we'll come back and hopefully we'll be ready to get him together. So see you in the next part. So rub the filler down, and now it's time to start putting this guy together. So I'm going to start with his feet and work my way up, and see what we end up with, as in for gaps and fit issues and anything like that. So a generous amount of glue, so we'll get his proper foot. Okay. Just grip in there. Put extra thin, just to make something to grip to. Okay. On this foot. exactly a stellar fit, this one. Wing it a little bit and put it in position, I think. Okay, better. Right, so okay, we've got his feet on. What I think I'm going to do next is attach the torso. Again, generous amount of extra thin for this, get it to grip. Again, what you can do, and probably advise, especially if you're doing resin figure, is to drill and pin, which is just a case of drilling some small holes and then, you know, using like a paper clip wire just to reinforce the joints. And again, it's also good if you just want to do a bit of repositioning of parts. Obviously, being wire, you can just bend it and, you know, just fill in the gaps with milliput or, you know, the 2-part filler of your choice. So I think we'll stick his head on. Okay. Like so. Just put a bead of extra thin around his neck so that don't happen. That's better. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave his helmet off. I'm going to paint that separate. There you go. His helmet stuck on, and then we'll see about attaching the bottom of his smock. I've got a feeling there's going to be some gaps to fill, just with test fitting. Hopefully they're not too bad, and some of them will be covered up because that one's going to have his bread bag at the back there. His bread bag will be covering some of that, and at the front he's got his, let's have a look what we've got. So okay, there's MG goes under there, and then we've got some ammo pouches, I think that is, or a map bag, I'm not sure. Pistol holster, his shovel. So again, I don't know how much of the gaps we're going to see, so I'll get it assembled and then we'll go from it. What I am going to do though is assemble everything apart from him holding his gun for painting. It's going to be easy in situ. He's got a knife sticking out the top of his sort of up here, look, near his neck. I think that's just shoved down his top. All these bits, all the back bits, bread bag, his gas canister holder, his canteen, all this that I am going to assemble so I can fill and sort out any gaps before paint. I think that's good. So when we come back, like I said, I'll put these bits on, assemble these bits. Again, his bread bag's going to fit like that, so that's fine. Goes probably like that, I think. Yeah, that one goes around there. Yeah, put it all together and we'll come back and should have it all assembled. So yeah, as you can see, there we go. So far so good. It's going to look quite cool. So to wrap the first part of this video up, as you can see, we've now got him assembled. Like I suspected, the gaps around the bottom of his smock you're not really going to see. There's probably a little one there, but again, he's got a this part to cover it, so that'll just slide in there. So probably no more filling required. Okay, stuck his bread bag on. There's a recess there for the gas mask canister to fit, and then we might have to make up just some straps just to make it look like it's obviously attached to something. His hands are now assembled. There's the one holding his pistol. Okay, there's a separate thumb, so actually the fit's really good. Just got a bit of clean up to do where the attachment part is. Same with this hand as well, just where his thumb attaches to the rest of his hand and fingers. So that's going to take a little bit of a clean up with a bit of a scraper. Canteen, again, I think I'm going to paint it separate because the fit's not actually that bad, so it'll be easier. So that's just going to hang off there. And then, like I say, his MG42 is assembled, and that will hang behind him, something, I think, like that. Okay, I'm going to have to figure that out. I've actually just drilled the hole out for the gun barrel. Okay, so just a small drill bit does that job. So just need to see again if there's any strapping that I do need to scratch build, just so it does look like it's actually attached and not just floating in fresh air. But that should, if we go by the photos, just hang behind him. So I need to find out where actually the MG parts attached there for the strap. So it's either going to go under his arm like so, or it hangs behind him. I need to figure that bit out, but I'll do that off camera anyway. And yeah, so we'll conclude that part. Okay, there's his helmet, so his helmet will fit on. Like I say, I'm going to leave it off the painting just for ease of painting his face and actually showing it on camera. But again, the fit's pretty good, so blob of glue, and that's done and dusted. Okay, gun holsters on, and there we are. Again, for a styrene injection moulded figure, and how old this figure is now, it's actually pretty well detailed and well thought out. I think it's quite nice scale as well. It's going to be a fun paint job. So okay, join me in the next part of this series where I'm going to get him in primer, and then we'll start the painting process. So see you again.